Welcome to the LFG Pats Pod with your hosts, Joe and Mike. Let's go!
All right, welcome into the LFG Pats Pod. This is episode 18, Mike. These episodes are just flying by. We're, 4 months into this? And
steady and strong, baby. Keep going.
We got some season action. We got Foxborough Fellas on. So, little quick trivia fact. Mike and I our first guest spot was on the Foxborough Fellas, and I think that was at least three and a half months ago. So we finally have them on, guys. Thanks for joining.
We appreciate that. That was very gracious of you when we were just starting out. We like that.
No, it's our pleasure. And I feel like you might be trolling me having me on episode 18, the Matthew Slater episode. I'm not too sure. I should take it personally.
Yeah, you're a huge fan, right? You have a Matthew Slater tattoo on your back, I heard.
It's actually I love special teamers is what it says.
Yes, I love it.
Then he would like the name of my fantasy team. I will schooler you.
Mike's a schooler fan. Yeah. Who is just as good apparently as
the very replaceable.
Yeah.
All right, so we have an awesome episode today. So we're talking about the previous preseason game, right, from last Friday. Mike and I were there. We have some great stories. Mike and I were on cloud 9 last Friday. It was like nothing could go wrong. We could have been nuked that day, and I think we would have been like, all right, whatever, cool. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Vikings game upcoming. So some interesting things there. We'll talk about some of the matchups there and what we expect to see. And then we're going to wrap up the episode with a little bit of parlay action. So we got some, one-off bets with P and Divish and some fun stuff going on. But I thought it would be cool to get a big spreadsheet of things to bet on. And then we got a fun little wager. We're not going to spoil it right now, but we got some fun little non-money related wagers that I think will be just fun for fans in general.
And it's going to be great. It's going to be a season-long thing that we have. We're going to monitor each other's progress about all of these things. So it's going to be an awesome thing for us to talk about throughout the course of the season with all the bragging rights coming towards the end of the season. So Joe came up with a fun little exercise that these guys are perfect for because they're very good at, prognosticating these types of things.
Absolutely.
So I think they're great partners for that. So I'm excited about it. Joe's a madman. Okay. Just first of all, let's just get that out of the way with sometimes some of the stuff that he comes up with, but he came with a very unique system here that I think we're going to have a lot of fun with.
I think so too. But so before we get into that, guys, we just got to quickly talk about the sponsors. So Rogue Island Kitchen and Bar, if you're in the arcade in Providence, if you're anywhere near the Providence area, you need to check it out. My favorite thing to get there is the brisket poutine. I get that. I get a chicken sandwich, which it's not any kind of it's not like your Wendy's chicken sandwich. It's like blue corn chicken, like real deal Southern chicken with like pickled veggies, and it's like gourmet through the roof.
And they have the bear, like the roast beef sandwich.
Yeah,
from the show.
The bear. Yeah. My buddy. If you talk to Ryan Bissett there, tell him that the LFG Pats Bog sent you. But he is a foodie through and through. This guy will talk your ear off about food. Check it out. Amazing beer, amazing food. Impact brand and marketing. So we have the swag. We get the hats, the shirts, all kinds of cool stuff.
It's about time. Impact.
I know they're a little. They had the July 4th break. They had some things come up. Whatever. It's not a big deal. The quality is amazing.
We'll still call them out, but anyway,
we will still call them out though. But anyways, so Pete and Divish, we're gonna just jump straight into it. I know you guys had a podcast yesterday, but tell me, we'll start with Pete. Tell me your big takeaways from the game on Friday.
I think my big takeaway, there was 2 takeaways that I said on the pod last night, so I'll regurgitate it here now that I've had at least another day to think on it. But the rookies all impressed. If you just go down the line and look at each rookie, none of them let you down, and that's great to see considering last year's rookie class was an absolute disaster outside of Drake May, which many consider good job picking your franchise quarterback, but outside of that, you failed. Pretty tremendously considering that we're talking about cutting a lot of the players that we drafted last year, this year. But yeah, the rookies impressed this year. And what I said last night on the pod was a lot of the things that I felt good about, I feel even better about now from watching the game on Friday. But some of the things that I was a little concerned with, I didn't get many assurances on them. But I didn't get, I'm not more scared now. I'm not more terrified. I didn't get sour on those things that I'm worried about. I'm like, all right, let's see a couple more games. Let's see where this goes. I have a little bit of hope there that was just a little fluke in the sand. And those things being the offensive line and Drake May's decision making, right? And we saw it all come together on one play. The left side of the offensive line had a miscommunication, didn't pick up a stunt. It led to, the guy getting in the backfield. Drake May, instead of throwing the ball away or taking a sack, fumbles the ball, puts the other team in scoring position immediately to start the game. Kind of, if that was a real game and you had momentum on the kickoff and then you lost it like that with a fumble, that can kind of be tough. You don't want that to happen. Although ZB pointed out on the pod, every other stunt from then on, well communicated and picked up just the way you want, so they adjusted appropriately, which is exactly what you want to see out of these young players, because the young players are going to make mistakes, but learn from it, grow, and don't make the same mistake twice. So I was encouraged from Friday night's game, and I was also there, and I was also over the cloud just like you guys were. It was awesome environment.
So whose fault was it about that stunt, though? We've all looked at the film, and they're blaming all three guys depending on who you look at or who you talk to. So whose fault was it ultimately?
I mean, answer Wilson, but Divish will give you the technical answer of exactly why.
I was gonna say it. So first off, the fumble 100% is on Drake. There's the sack we can like divvy up the blame for, but the fumble is 100% on Drake. Man, his decision making just needs to be better. I think Mike Rabel just put it. He needs to do better. He knows that. I know that. Everyone on the team knows that. We just got to make sure it doesn't happen again. But for the sack itself, so when a stunt like that happens, and this is me assuming a generally built offensive line, protections are supposed to be communicated inside out. So if a guy needs to pick up a stunt on the inside, he needs to disengage and let the guy next to him know that, hey, the guy I'm disengaging from is your man now, and I'm taking a step inside to pick up this stunt. Now, that is the standard way of handling this, and in that standard way of evaluating this, it will be Jared Wilson's fault because he just didn't disengage fast enough and pass the block off from. Like at one point in the film, it looks like they were trying to double team this guy. And then Jared Wilson realizes, oh shit, I have to move over a step to the right. And I think that is something that is just so easily refined, because if you look outside of stunts too, in one-on-one protection, Jared Wilson and Will Campbell were winning most of their matchups as pass protectors, right? So it's not something that is clearly a skill issue. It is a communication issue, which is very, very easy to be solved.
You think that's coachable? Very coachable.
Very coach. I think that is something that you change in like a practice or two. That is that simple. And then the other thing with that, which is, this communication does not only need to happen with Will Campbell. Let's say it's a run concept where Jared Wilson needs to go head on in a combo block. His communication still needs to be good enough with Garrett Bradbury as well. So I think the coaching staff should just take these reps as a learning lesson to just be like, hey, these are the things you need to do to communicate with the guy right next to you, depending on what you're supposed to execute on that play. So those things combined, it is very solvable. But looking at that rep, I would put the blame on Jared Wilson.
I'm with that.
And it's certainly like our worst fear, not confirmed, right? But it is our worst fear, right? You go from the high of Trevion, the opening kickoff, which was unbelievable. And we all saw hints of him being able to do that, right? Throughout camp. It was amazing, but it was like, okay, Trevion's doing Trevion.
Picked him up in fantasy.
And of course, Mike got him. And he's gonna remind me of that all season. But then next series, when Drake, first of all, the line breaks down, we all knew that the left side was going to be a rookie left side and a breakdown of the line. But then to compound the issue where you could just throw it away or take the sack purely, you don't protect the ball, which is probably our next biggest fear, right? For this offense is line breaking down, Drake May not protecting the football. So we'll see when we get to the betting later on, where those fumble lines, where they fall. But yeah, I think the other thing for me, obviously, and Mike and I had a huge stake going to this game. We actually got to meet the Larisons, which was unbelievable. We've been rooting for him the whole season, let's be honest. And, he got a big chance at the end there. And to hear that he actually broke his foot halfway through the game and still, pound the rock 3 times at the end of the game and get it in the end zone was absolutely
played
ridiculous.
11 or 12 snaps on a broken foot? Kind of insane. Yeah.
Just ridiculous. And not to mention his route participation was through the roof. Yeah. His yards per route run, I think in that game alone was over 2, which is like CMC level, route usage. So to me, it was like he was clearly in the works for some kind of role, right?
This is Joe's segment on where he has to lament the loss of Lan Larison, because we've been touting him ever since get-go. And we met his parents on Friday night at the game, his sister, his aunt, and his uncle.
Everybody. It was amazing.
The most down-to-earth people known to mankind. They were so excited and so happy. It was like on cloud 9, and then you wake up the next day and everybody's dreams are shattered. It's just like an example of how some success can really make or break the whole attitude of a family. They have to go into disaster.
The NFL story, right?
Yeah,
it's the story of the NFL.
They're in disaster recovery mode right now, which really blows, because they're the nicest people in the world. We were like, yeah, we met their parents. We're going to have them on our show. We're going to do this and that. And then he broke his foot. So now it's all a moot point. But we were still happy to meet them.
Of course.
But we're also sad because we actually think he could have made an impact on the team, which is what I'm most broken up about. So now we got Terrell Jennings.
Right?
Yeah.
Ramondre is undisclosed right now. Where is he? We don't know. Is he hurt? Is it personal? Has anyone heard anything about that? I don't think there's anything that's come out on that.
No, but when Carlton Davis missed time, when all these other veterans missed time, you go, oh, it's a veteran day off. Mondre handled the rock a lot on Friday. He's been handling the rock a lot at practice. Yeah. If I was to guess, it's a veteran day off, and it's veteran resting in the middle of of August, and it's to be no concern. I don't think we're trading him. I don't think we're cutting him. I don't think he's not the running back 1 anymore. But it's fun. This is what we do in August.
Yes. Is he scheduled to miss both joint practices or no? Right?
Unknown.
Unknown.
It came up as undisclosed. It wasn't but again, that's how that gets treated, right? When it's a veteran, that can be undisclosed. That's fine.
Morgan Moses didn't play in the game undisclosed. Stephon Diggs didn't play in the game undisclosed. So Ramondre this is his week of undisclosed, not playing. I mean, he handled the rock, right? A lot, not 3 times and then took a seat. He ran the ball. How many carries did he have in that game?
He played at least 3 series.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
He was in all 3 series with the first team.
Yeah. Right. He had 7 carries for 36 yards, right? So, I mean, and 13-yard carry mixed in there. He had as many carries as Lan Larison, right? So he was used the most out of all the running backs, tied for it with Larison. So now he gets a week off, and maybe he gets light usage in week 3, not at all. And he's ready to rock, because I expect him to have the most carries on the team by the end of the season. So you want to make sure his load is appropriate for where he's at.
Yeah, and I think it might just also be preservation for the joint practice itself, because we've seen multiple coaches talk about that. Joint practices matter more than preseason games because they find more out about their team and the opposition during joint practices. So
true. So true.
That is
I can't believe we have 2 of them. It seems, is it unprecedented? I can't remember.
It's happened before. I think Vikings also
not normal though.
Minnesota in the past has done 2 joint practices themselves, so it is not going to be their first time. Definitely the first time for the Patriots. But it is interesting, and I think this is why coaches are putting more emphasis on it, because in a preseason game where the cameras are on and it's out there for the world to watch, they don't want to run concepts and installs that are too far into their playbook because they don't want that on tape. But the point of a joint practice is that it is behind closed doors between 2 teams that you're probably not going to play in the season. The exception this year that we're playing Giants in the preseason, and that's why we're not having a joint practice with the Giants. It's because we play them during the season. So the playbooks are more open. It's a bigger time for these players to learn and a better time in general. So I think that is why there might be preservation there, that they were trying to work on some installs that they're probably trying to run against what is a reigning top 5 defense in the NFL in Minnesota. So there might be preservation for that reason there.
Yeah, he's 100% right. The joint practices show a whole lot more than the actual preseason game, because the joint practices where the ones go against the ones in very close to live action. And it's going to be really interesting. And Joe said, like, 2 practices in a row back to back. It doesn't happen anymore because the first practice, people get frustrated with the other guy. And the second practice, they target that guy that they were mad at the previous day.
A lot of
So there's
pent-up
so
rage.
much more fights on the second day. So it's going to be a fascinating week to see how Mike Vrabel specifically handles that. He's going to want to get involved and involved in every fight or dust up or skirmish or whatnot. There's invariably going to be more of those on the second day. But in those 2 days, you're going to find out the most that you're going to find out about this team. So I'm incredibly excited to hear about these 2 joint practices.
100%. And also, just to add to that, I really do think for evaluating the offense, this is the joint practice you put a lot more emphasis on.
Flores.
Actually, I would say, because first off, Flores is there. Then just like look at the defensive line. Deron Payne was probably the best defensive lineman our offense went up against in practice last week. The Minnesota starting defensive line is Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Grenard, Jonathan Allen, and Harrison Phillips.
Big
3
stuff.
guys coming off a Pro Bowl year. So that is not going
It's
to
a
be
great test.
So that is the test, that because we are going up against Max Crosby and Malcolm Kuntz again week 1. So these are like the joint practices that I think will get us ready for week 1 more than any preseason game.
I think it's interesting too, though, because their offensive line, although we did them a solid by taking Garrett Bradbury and they upgraded to Ryan Kelly, I think our defensive line has a better matchup, as maybe not better than their defensive line, but we have a really good matchup on our defensive line as well. I think we can school their offensive line. I don't know what you guys think.
I think that offensive line is going to pose some challenges because Christian Darrisaw is back healthy. Obviously, like you mentioned, they got Ryan Kelly. They drafted Donovan Jackson out of Ohio State in the first round as well. And a lot of it is also watching the Minnesota game from last week is, for more than the defensive linemen, I'm more excited to see what I hear about, or what I'm more excited to hear about the outside linebackers on this team. Because they were rolling JJ out a lot, both on his strong side and his weak side. They were doing a lot of outside running in that preseason game. And if that is the tendency of this offense, the quality of our edge setters, it's a great test for that. That will be
our guys.
Okay. Yeah. So how Keon White shows up, how Harold Landry shows up, how Calibon Chason shows up. I think it's a better test for that than like,
can we shed blocks? Can we?
Can we disengage at the right time on the outside? So I think that is more of the stuff that I think we'll gather on this joint practice than like how dominant are Milton Williams, Christian Barmore, or Kyrie Stonga.
So that's what they've been doing with JJ. They've been moving the pocket around for him.
Yep. So he had a bunch of designed rollouts. He had one to his left too, and like kind of had like this 2-read concept over the middle where he had to throw sidearm opening his body up. And JJ, like we saw that at Michigan too. He's very good at throwing on the run. Like he has like a compact release motion, so he doesn't need to do a lot it's easy for him to generate a lot of force on the ball without doing much while throwing on the run. So it kind of is one of his strengths. And one thing we know about Kevin O'Connell, if he can like exploit the strength of a quarterback, he's going to spam that for an entire season. So I think that's something that's a good test for this defense.
So they were such a good team last year, but they had Sam Darnold. So now JJ McCarthy is a complete wild card. So do you think in that McConnell system, he's going to thrive, or do you think the jury's out on him still?
I would still lean on the side. Thrive feels like a strong word. Like I lean on the side of the jury still out, because we know Kevin O'Connell is going to exploit his strengths. But when a weakness of the offense overall is exploited, what does the quarterback do there? Right? Like that's what we saw last year with Darnold too, that like as the interior offensive line kind of deteriorated, Darnold had no answers. So if that is something that we just don't know, because JJ played with one of the best offensive lines in college, and like I think it was a stat that like it was the 2 years that he was a starter at Michigan, over a 2-year stretch, it was the best success rate rushing offense in this century of college football. So quarterbacking that is obviously very easy for you. Minnesota, we don't know how good they're going to be running the ball yet.
Right.
I'm assuming average, but not much better than that. So I would lean on the side of he's an unknown, but it is a good test to go up with Kevin O'Connell or like any of these like Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, like this young trio of offensive gurus early on in the season and later on in the season, because it helps you make those defensive adjustments.
All right, I want to go back real quick. I know we're talking about the joint practices and the matchup with the Vikings, but I want to talk about Kyle Williams. Granted, everybody on Twitter is like, "Oh, he's running against second and third team people," but I think every route, if you watch every single route of Kyle Williams, it's exactly what we've seen in all these practices against Christian Gonzalez, against all the good corners on our team. Everything I saw was, man, if Josh Dobbs, if even Ben Woolridge was throwing him the ball, he had at least one touchdown, if not multiple touchdowns. What do you guys think, Pete? Well, give me your thoughts on it.
He got murdered on a play, and they didn't call PI on him. It was one of the most egregious non-calls I've ever seen. He got assaulted. Like the police would have arrested that guy and said that was clearly assault. But yeah, Kyle Williams thrived. I'll say it, like he got open in the end zone there at the second, third team. He only can play. It's like when people say you have a soft schedule and that's the only reason you have your record. It's like, well, you only can play the opponents you can play. He can only go up against the guy he's going up against out there. And Divish brought it up last night, but Dobbs almost sent him to the hospital, and he did a good job avoiding that.
Bro, that slant, right? That slant.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord. Yeah.
It was that move was friggin' fire, dude.
He smoked the guy off the line. Yeah.
And that is like also for a bad ball like that is what coaches tell you to play there, that don't put both hands out because you're headed to the concussion room straight after, but still put one hand out so that the DB cannot make a full play on the ball and the pass is still disrupted.
He broke up an INT.
Oh, for sure.
And that is the thing that's what you want to see from the rookies, that when they perform a rep, but the rep does not go right for the team, can they still follow their coaching points? And I think that is a good sign for him.
He said, "Don't confuse the result with the process," which I think is a great quote, right? Like
he got that from Diggs. Diggs taught him that, but it's right. It's still.
But accurate. I don't care who's teaching him. It means he's a sponge, right? He's absorbing what he's being taught and recalling it at the right times. Because knowledge is fine, but applied knowledge, that's the power, right? And he's been getting the knowledge. It's like, you have it. When can you use it? And he's like, listen, I could have caught a touchdown. I could have caught 2 touchdowns, and my night would have looked completely different. And we would be sitting here talking all Williams all night if that was the case, right? It's like Trevion or Williams. We're only talking about Trevion because he got the results, right? And he had excellent blocking on the kickoff return. Had he had bad blocking, he would have not got a kickoff return for a touchdown. It wasn't like he juked 7 people. It was like he hit every single hole.
Good cut.
He smoked the kicker. Is who he smoked, right? But he did run 22 something miles per hour. So the dude, it was like he would have smoked anybody, but it was the kicker. You know what I mean? But like Williams could have had 2 touchdowns too, and he could have had a bigger night. But the process, trust the process, stay focused. He has a lot of people ahead of him, so he needs to stay focused like that. I think the mentality of what we're seeing from Williams so far checks off. The skill set, watching him, like when you see Diggs run a drill and then you see him run a drill, it's not a huge distance between them, right?
No.
Like sometimes when Polk runs a drill, like he took 7 extra steps. So you can just see it from like across the field. But with Williams, he clearly moves like a very skilled wide receiver. I feel like he's just waiting, revving his engines for his opportunity. Maybe next year, when given a full opportunity, he'll really thrive. But I think we'll see glimpses of it this year.
The film doesn't lie. He has no wasted movements. I've said it before. All of his movements are deliberate, and he figures out how to beat you within the first second, and it's very encouraging.
He glides around the field.
Separation. Imagine we have receivers that create separation. It's
a
wild concept.
He doesn't chop up and wait to see what the guy's going to do. He already has a plan and works off the leverage right off the bat.
He said it. He called it out in that clip. He's talking about like basketball, right? You're setting somebody up like it's basketball, and you kind of have a plan, and you try to work to that plan, right? So he's everything that he was built out to be, right? He was built out to be this pro-ready. This guy is out of the box, has an expanded route tree, and the guy just works. He puts his head down and works, and it's exactly what you want. And hopefully, and maybe Javon Baker's rubbed off on Javon Baker. These other guys are looking at it and going, all right, work ethic is this right here. And it's, between him, Diggs, obviously Chisholm, Matt Collins, a lot of these guys are, seem to be pretty high character guys. Diggs maybe a little less so at times, but you know what I mean. I think that they're building that.
Well, he's
that
not a
wide
snap
receiver room
count.
up.
They treat him with kid gloves right now until the regular
for
season.
For sure. But in the locker room and at practice, that these guys are all kind of cut from the same cloth, where they're all like work. So that's pretty amazing. Any other takeaways you guys have from the Commanders game?
No, it's a preseason, bro.
Yeah, you guys already. You just said you already did it yesterday. So
I wanted to, give them
No, this is your show, and if you're listening to this and you didn't listen yesterday, you don't have the fun of all of that. I don't mind repeating myself, but it's like the preseason is what it is, right? Like there's only so much you can garner from it, and you guys hinted at it. The joint practices might have been the bigger takeaways. So it's like, that was a week and a half ago at this point, the joint practice. So tomorrow will be a lot of fun, and the next couple of days.
And even then, you don't have Jaden Daniels, you don't have Terry McLaurin, but it's still you get
all this way
more out of it.
Every single thing we say is all asterisk, right? Like he looked really good, but he was against the twos. But it's the preseason. Like September 7th. Once they do it September 7th against the Raiders, then you can say, okay, that translated to the real game. Okay, that's legit. Until then, there should be a little hesitation. Anybody who's full throttle, I know this is going to be true. Like unless they've seen it and they have like a data set on it, they're hoping that it's true, and they can be like 90% sure, 95, but nobody's 100% sure on any of these things. This is the preseason. This is like I always compare it to spring training when a pitcher throws 4 changeups in a row because he's working on his changeup. He's not going to do that in the season. Right. He's working on something. This is working on something. And like Mike McDaniels even said it. He's like, I'm excited for this point in the offseason because now I know my team a little bit more. I know what they can do. I know where they're versatile. I knew what their skill set was. Like I know this guy's fast, but I didn't know he could do this too. And I saw that at practice. Now I'm going to build a play for him. Like this is where Josh McDaniels starts to get in his bag a little bit with his thinking. He might not show us, because why would he? Because then we would all know it, and then you can prepare for it. But this is where he's starting to get intel, I think, on his team and making some key decisions of what he's going to do in the regular season. And we know he has a bag that's like Santa Claus. Like this is huge.
Well, that's what separates us. We're all fans, but from us analytically versus the layperson when they go to training camp and just want to see touchdown passes the whole damn time, and all of a sudden saying, well, they're obviously working on a specific thing, right?
Yeah.
Like,
why are they throwing checkdowns all the time? It's like maybe they're doing first down against shell coverage. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, when we look at it, it looks kind of obvious based on what they're not doing, but other people that go there and be like, why are they doing all this stuff? They should just do that. And it's like you have no clue what the coaching points
it's a build up. You got to build it up.
The itinerary is right here. So you have to evaluate it based off of the body of work. It's not because they couldn't get something done. It's because they were trying to get one specific thing done. And we all take note of that. And I think that's important to remember, because sometimes we'll be like, oh, Drake may miss that one shot. It was probably the one shot that he had down the field just to wing something that wasn't in structure.
Right.
So give the friggin' guy a break, So
a lot of the first practice was like going through the third read, right? Like getting to your third read. Why didn't he throw it to Diggs? It's like, well, Diggs was his first or his second read, and he's practicing.
We talked about that.
Like,
it was very clear. Once you really piece it together, it was very clear.
But you didn't get it until like play 4. Like you had to see 3 or 4 plays. Like, oh, this is what they're doing. Okay, this makes more sense now. If you never keyed in on it, you'd be a little lost and wondering what the hell's going on.
Drake May's indecisive. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the takeaway. He would have got sacked 7 times that day.
Exactly.
Like, wow.
We were all there. We all watched it up close, and we could all tell what was going on.
It took us a little bit. We learned.
So that's our value, folks. For whoever's listening out there, right? we got the analysis for you. So that's what we bring.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we talked about the preseason game with the Commanders. The only other thing I want to talk about is Antonio Gibson, because I know there was a little bit of an X-team thing going on there, but Antonio Gibson shows juice, man. Talk about juice. I love him as a perfect second back to whether it's Trevion someday.
Whether you love him or hate him, he's going to be a big part of what we're doing.
He really is.
I like him.
I like him a lot. He's just, he does everything. He's like perfect. He's like Swiss Army knife, whereas Ramondre might be a little more on one side and maybe Trevion's more on another. and then you got Antonio who just does everything. It's kind of a nice compliment. I think that it's going to be a great three-headed backfield.
The only other take, or just a fun fact that I read earlier in the day today, but Travion Henderson's top recorded speed on that kickoff return was 21.96 miles an hour per Next Gen Stats. If he did that during the regular season last year, that would have been the 5th fastest speed recorded. So only behind Cavante Turpin, Brian Thomas Jr., Tyreek Hill, and Jahmyr Gibbs. Those were the
were those kickoffs or were those
Cavante Turpin was a kickoff. It was it was against the Commanders too. That Cowboys Commanders game when he fumbled that ball and then picked it up and then ran down.
Right, yeah.
So that was the Cavante Turpin play. I don't know which plays they're charting for.
Just because I was thinking to do that on a kickoff versus to do it on wider. It could. You have 80 yards. You're running.
Translates differently.
You're gonna hit that higher speeds with 80 yards.
It is more easy to do it on a kickoff return or like a broken run play that goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are so as a wide receiver, it's definitely more impressive.
It's more. Yeah, it's more impressive. I was wondering what they did it on.
Yeah.
You guys, so from the Senior Bowl last year, Kyle Williams was the fastest recorded at 22.1 miles per hour. Kyle Williams.
So they need a race. That's the thing. We need who hits the top speed this year? All right, who hits the top speed this year? Kyle Williams.
Oh, I like
Henderson.
That. Yeah, an extra bet for the end.
We have to also just give Travion. He's 35 pounds heavier, almost 35 pounds heavier than Kyle Williams.
We have to adjust for weight. Weight. Yeah.
We got to give him a little bit of slack.
Well, oh man, you're not giving Kyle Williams much credit. I was putting him at least 180.
Yeah, he's good at 185, I think.
I got Travion at 205, so
so 20 pounds. 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Point taken though. 20 pounds away. He's in a different boxing class. They don't fight in the same weight class.
No, 100%. And they move the same speed. So that says a lot about TV. Joe's got me calling Travion Henderson TV.
TV Henderson, baby. Make it stick. Make it stick.
So apparently that's the thing. He's brainwashing me. What do you guys think? Vote right now. TV Henderson by show of hands.
Yes
no, I'm all in on it. Put him on your TV
Yeah.
screens. Put TV on the TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's in. All right.
It would also be cool, if when he scores a touchdown and they play TV off by Kendrick in the stadium, that would make the stadium go electric. Yeah.
Oh, and show the lights off.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be sick.
TVH is a good initial too. I like that. Yeah.
Joe's gonna tweet that right to Travion Henderson later on and try to get him to follow.
I can't be the first person to have called. There's no way he's been called that before. It's not possible.
Travion's
with the capital V. He has to.
Yeah, he's just like. If
it was lowercase v, you might have been on to something. But the uppercase V, I feel like someone in college said it before.
It's very on the nose.
I'm rooting for you. TV 32.
It's a good point.
All right, boys. So we're gonna get into the parlay matchup. So I'm gonna explain it. There was some, a little bit of trepidation around the naming of these things, but
you got to explain it to people so they know what the
that's
heck
what I'm doing.
doing.
That's what I'm doing right now. So we got
you cut him off.
Shut up for a minute.
You're literally doing it.
Mute button right here.
All right. So here we're gonna do is
take two.
We got a bunch of bets, right? We got a bunch of prop bets. We got Drake May passing yards, Stephon Diggs, all these different prop bets, right? So, and then we have just a straight up schedule, and we're just picking wins and losses there. But we have 46 bets, I think it is.
It's 46 line items.
46 line items. And we have 4 categories you can pick for each one. You can pick over and under, which everyone knows what that is. But then we have either a juice or a squeeze. So now a juice is typically let's say for the first one, we have regular season wins at 8.5. That was a Vegas spread. We then said, okay, you can either go over or under, or you could take the juice, which is 9.5, which means they're going to get 9.5 or more wins, 10 or more wins at that point. And you could take the squeeze and say, we really think they're not going to do that great. They're going to get less than 7.5 wins. So we did this for all, I think it was probably 20 something.
So the juice odds. You have to go over, the squeeze you have to go under.
Exactly. And by over, it's not always one. Some of them I adjusted a little bit because the numbers wouldn't make sense. But yeah, so let's see here. So I think on the first one, we're all juice or over. So that's regular season wins. We're either saying 8.5 or 9.5. Nothing crazy there.
But the example is the regular season wins is 8.5.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So Joe's got the juice on that. which would mean you want over 9.5.
Over 9.5. Yeah.
I got the juice 9.5. Pete and Divish both have the over, which is over 8.5. So
right,
they have 9 wins and we have 10 wins. Basically, is how that.
But now,
down.
if we get the R's right, if we get over 9.5 wins, which we will, then we get 2 points a piece because we both did juice. We get 4 points. And Pete and Dividge would only get 2. Now, if they get, let's say they get 9 wins, then we're going to lose 4 points. So it's a risk reward thing, right? So
it's a point for over and under, but it's a 2 points for juice.
Exactly.
Squeeze, right?
So you're risking more, but you get more. But so at the end of this, we're going to tally it all up. At the end of the season, we have a bet. So whoever gets the most combined points per podcast, the other person will wear and have to buy a shirt, wear it on the podcast, and they also have to change their theme music and intro for 2 episodes. So they got to wear the other shirt. So we'll be wearing Foxborough Fellas, or they'll be wearing LFG Patch Pop.
I'd buy your shirt anyway.
It's going to be a win-win, right? We get to get a shirt.
Wait a minute.
Oh, I like it.
Oh, Pete's like, oh, you don't have to worry about that. We got this.
So that's the bet. We're going to have another episode at the end of the season. We'll review it all. We'll get to gloat. We'll get to do whatever. Talk, say, oh my God, I can't believe we thought that. And we'll get to
shout out Joe for sending it to us this morning too and giving us like 2 hours to think about it all. Classic like Belichick move on Joe's part baby. There. Like, of course him and Mike are cooking together and Division and I are looking at it separate. Don't worry though.
You guys will probably win anyway. We're like thinking about it together. You guys doing it separate, and who the fuck knows? It's all a big.
Don't get me wrong. This is the diaries of a madman. Okay.
Can I ask a question? Sure. On like the Drake May, for example, when we get there, we're going to talk about his interceptions 12.5, but the juice is lower and the head, the squeeze is higher. So wouldn't I want to take the lower number if I'm thinking it's over?
I kind of got in my head a little bit, and
it's flipped, right? They're just flipped for me looking at it. I know this isn't great content for someone listening because they're not looking at what I'm looking at, but it's a good clarification point.
Yeah.
Well, because
that's a good question.
Because the juice is lower, I took it as like a positive, and in my mind, the juice was positive.
But you just flipped them. It's just flipping them.
Yes,
exactly. The numbers. You just. All right. Yep, I got it. All right, I'm with it. I just wanted to clarify because then I would change a lot of things.
The logic.
I was like, I followed your logic. Okay, I'm ready to go. Yep. All right. If we want to talk about Drake May, let's do it.
So Drake May passing yards 3,000 yards. 3,300 yards. The juice was 3,500, so I bumped it up by 200 there. The squeeze was down 3,100. And so we basically have a combination. I have the juice, Mike has the over, Pete has the juice, and Divish has the over. So pretty similar, nothing crazy going on there.
Like mine's, Divish, like mine.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins had 3.5 thousand passing yards in 14 games last year. Drake May can't in 17 games do better than Kirk Cousins can do in 14 games. Lord have mercy on the Patriots.
That was also like just a completely like way too spread offense. I don't think Josh McDaniels would want him
3 games though. If Drake May plays 3 more games, I'm hoping.
Kirk Cousins had 2 500-yard games last year. That is like a little much.
You don't got to explain it to me. I'm with you.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. Drake May can't have 2 500-yard games per.
No, I think I'm saying he doesn't need to have 2 500-yard games to win that.
I'd be over the moon if he got 1.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I juiced it because I thought 200 yards was insignificant. But yeah, go ahead.
I'm with you. Drake May passing touchdown. So the over-under was 20.5 points. I put the juice at 22.5. The squeeze was at 18.5. Looks like a lot of us are on the juice here. Mike's on the over. Went a little more conservative. I think it's all in the realm of possibilities, but I don't think it's possible for Drake May to throw for over 3,500 yards and not get 23 touchdowns.
So where'd you get your lines from? How'd you determine your juice?
It was a combination of any betting sites that I could find at work that weren't blocked, because my work blocks betting sites. And
Joe, you have a Gmail, bro.
I know. I use Fantasy Pros and some other things for their projections, but regardless, these are the lines.
Yeah, I like them too, but 22.5, I don't know. I'm thinking more like 20, 21.
All right. That's fair.
That's
all right.
I honestly think that it's more likely that he has a big touchdown year than a yards year, purely because how efficient I expect the run game to be. Because like, like they always say like 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns is like the barometer of like pushes you into like the top 7, top 8 category. If he could only have one this year, I would bet on 30 touchdowns before I bet on 4,000 yards.
I love it.
The only thing that gives me pause there is his legs. That's the
Yeah.
only thing that gives me pause there, because I think he could push for.
Well, you have those in there too.
Yeah. So all right. So Drake May rushing yards. This is an interesting one because will Josh McDaniels draw up any plays for him, or will they try to keep him a pocket passer and just only use it as?
I think it'll only be drawn up in the low red zone or on a scheme for a 3rd and short in a certain situation.
We shall see. We shall see what he does.
And other than that, like I said, if it's man coverage and nobody's looking at him and he has no choice but to take open field, he'll take it. But still, by the same token, I don't want him going nuts with his rush yards. I got the over on 475, but I didn't take the juice. I'm looking at
neither of us went too far in any direction. So Mike and I took the over and you guys took the under. Why'd you guys take the under?
I'll tell you why I took the under. If he kept up his 7.8 yards per carry, he would need 61 carries to get to hit that number. And I don't think he gets that many carries this year, simply because the scheme of the offense is going to be no designed runs, except in those rare scenarios, right? Or let me put it this way. When he's running, it will be more of a design than it was last year. Whereas last year, there was no design runs. He'll be running more by design and will be heavily influenced to not run otherwise and to remain a passer. And I think that's been drilled, and because I think that they want that to help his fumbles. When you run off, you just decide to run, that's when you're going to fumble it, right? So don't do that and limit your fumbles, because we want to be more of an in-control team this year. No turnovers, let the defense hold the other team. Don't make mistakes. The old Patriots, right? Don't make mistakes. Let the other team make the mistakes. And that's how you win the game, is by, the void of mistakes. And so I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of rushing on him. Although Vegas, I think it has it at around 500. So you're even bumping it down the line, and I'm still going under. That's how much I don't think that he hits these numbers this year.
I agree with them 100%. I love the way they're going. Like you said, they're going out of their way to make sure he knows to remain a passer for as long as he possibly can. Because the more you stay back in that pocket on broken plays, the wider open guys are going to get. And you're going to get big chunk plays without putting the stress under your quarterback to have to go make those yards. There's just going to be so many instances of him just looking at open field.
Of course.
He's not going to have a choice. Now, what he does with that is a different story. He's going to slide. All right. I don't want him going head first in any particular situation. He wants to, but nobody else wants him to.
I don't want to see that head bounce off the turf.
I agree. I don't see a heck of a lot of actual rushing yards because of the remaining of the passer thing. And I think that's going to be the key to his development, is learning how to remain a passer on those broken plays. So
go ahead, David. I know you got something to say.
I love it.
I was going to say, so like full disclosure, this was a self-hedge for me, because when this line opened up, it opened up at 430.5 on DraftKings. So I immediately took the over there on 430.5. So it was kind of like a self-hedge there too. I think what Pete said is mostly accurate about the team's emphasis on him remaining a passer, mostly using like zone reads and design runs for him to pick up first downs on 3rd and shorts, or using him in the low red zone. The only thing that we have to be skeptical of as under bettors here is a lot of the times when his scrambles are way more explosive than what the yardage is needed in those situations, right?
They go for 25 instead of 15. Stuff
exactly.
Like that.
So I think that is something that the variance of, I think his total scramble numbers will go down, but the variance of how explosive his scrambles can potentially be is like what I'm wary of. But which is why I think 430, I was like, might as well play both sides, because it's like for a good cause either way. It's either for my pocket or for a.
That's kind of my thing with the over is the chunk plays, right? It's like the Josh Allen runs that are just like, they're so wide open, the whole field cleared out, and
that's
it's just
him
and green grass,
and
he goes for 40 yards, and that's the thing where it's like he could just walk in, not even trying to, and I think he can get 500 yards. That's just my take, but I do agree with that other narrative where it says, hey, listen, You're going to try really hard not to do that, because we're going to make sure we scheme guys open into that space, whether it's deep crossing patterns or whatever. We're going to make sure that we don't give you that, green grass to want to run into and just go run into the field. Like it is, I think it is possibly the key to his longevity.
A better O-line too, less breakdowns, less scrambling.
Yeah.
100%. All right. So now the negative stuff, the passing interceptions. So the line was set at 12.5. This is the one where the juice is a little weird. It's lower as in positive. So that's why I said juice. So we have under, over, under. So I think it's, it's.
So Joe and Division are under, Mike and Pete are over. Look, he's going to take his lumps. Okay. Just straight up. He's going to make mistakes. We've seen it last year. He's going to push the envelope. He even talks about it. He says, I'm going to give my guy a chance. So what that means when the ball's in the air is different based on the person who's defending and the person who's actually trying to catch the pass. I think he's going to try to force a couple of things this year. I think he's over 12.5 picks, but I don't think that that's going to be detrimental. Hopefully not from a win-loss standpoint, but I don't think it's going to be detrimental from a developmental standpoint, because I think that's the player that he is. I think he's going to take risks. He's going to take chances. They're not always going to work out.
I mean, it's 17 games, right? That's less than one a game.
I love the kid, but I think he's going to have a lot of touchdowns, but I think he's going to have a decent amount of interceptions as well.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. He had 10 last year, and he's got to play in 4 more games this year. And that is his, we're all saying remain a passer. Well, more passes, more opportunities for interceptions. And he's a second-year player who takes risks. That's his play style. You hinted on it, right? Like, he's a slinger. He slings the ball out there and gives a shot for a touchdown, but also gives sometimes the shot for the defense to intercept them. And so I just think we might always have to deal with double-digit interception numbers from Drake May, but we could start looking at 30-something touchdowns. Well, 30 and 12, it's fine. It's not.
I'll take it.
Yeah, trash.
Yeah, like, okay. Well, 30 and 13, I guess, in Nick's example. If you went 30 and 13, you would hit your interception over, but you would be perfectly fine with it. So I think that's a lot of what you'll end up with Drake May. Is you're perfectly fine with some of the negatives because the strengths are just outweighing it. And we don't have Tom Brady anymore. It's not all positive, no negatives, right? You have to take a little negative with the positive. I think that's what we have to accept from our quarterback position. And kind of as Patriots fans that watch Tom Brady for so long, you're like, we need the perfect guy. He needs to be able to do everything perfectly. Well, sometimes there's a gunslinger who turns the ball over a little bit, and that might be Drake May.
All right.
One of the only reasons I went under here is because we have just seen around the league that the trend of interceptions are going down. Because when you think about it, most interceptions happen either on bad reads on early downs or just forcing the ball on late downs. Those are most scenarios. And I think the first half of that is going to be eliminated from his game a lot, because I don't think he will be asked to go through a lot of explosive reads on early downs. And I think the run game will be there to support that. Plus, last season, only 3 players in the entire NFL who played a full season had more than the 12.5 interception number. One of them, if he has that season, which was Baker Mayfield, he had 14 interceptions, but he also had 42 touchdowns. So if he has that type of year, sure, I'll fucking take that.
Obscene.
But the other guys who had that, Kirk Cousins had 16, who, again, had 1 touchdown and 7 interceptions over the span of 5 games. So when he was bad, he was really bad. I don't think that the bottom's going to fall out of Drake from any situation. And Geno Smith, which is something that concerns me, is it was a bad interior offensive line, and a lot of those interceptions were tipped or all that stuff that the offensive line can chop the defensive lineman's hands down. That type of stuff concerns me a little, that if there's some fluky interceptions going away from him. But I think if it was 10.5, I would have definitely taken the over. But I think 12.5 kind of made me lean the under.
Yeah, there was 8 players with 12 interceptions last year. So that 12.5 line, that half really makes you pause a little bit. Yeah.
He's going to take his lumps, and he's going to have some fumbles, but on balance, I think he's going to be an absolute stud, personally.
We got an interesting one here next. So we got 5.5 fumbles. Go back up. Actually, there you go. So 5.5 fumbles on Drake May, and 3 of us have the under. and Mike has the juice. So we're saying 3 of us are saying under 5.5, and Mike, you're saying under 4.5.
I am.
All right. I like it. So he's going to take care of the ball.
That's my whole, like what we just previously talked about.
Yeah.
It goes along the same thing. Like if he's running around loosey goosey with the ball like this, it's going to be a problem. But he doesn't do that once he decides to become a runner. He tucks it, and I don't think he's going to have enough opportunities to fumble the ball 4 times.
Okay. All right.
Just flat out.
All right. I like it. All right, let's get into Stephon Diggs. We'll have to pick this up a little bit because it's 50 minutes.
Yeah, there's no way we're getting through. We're gonna have to pick and choose some of this stuff.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
there's no way we're gonna get through this. But the Stephon Diggs is a good one. I mean, this is a good comp right here. You got him at over under 80.5
receptions, total receptions.
Yeah,
and then we have the juice has 85.5 and 75.5 to the squeeze.
Yeah, every single one of us thinks it's going to be under that.
Yeah. So we all think it's going to be under a few of us have 3 of us have the squeeze and 1 of us have the under. So we all know it's going to be less than that, or we all think it's going to be less than that. Receiving yards, we have it 850.5 yards.
And everybody's under except for.
You got to stop moving around.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Over, under. So all of us are under besides me. I have the over. So I'm over 850 yards, which I think there's
Joe, go on DraftKings right now or FanDuel right now and take the over because it's 750. On like you're taking the over on 100 yards. Like you could, I don't know if you can tease these numbers yet or not, probably not, but go make some money, man, because you would be very comfortable with the 750 number if you're comfortable with the 850 number.
I just think in general, as we get into it, we'll go through it, but it's a Josh McDaniels offense. There's not going to be like one main target. It's going to be who's open. So I feel like the ball's going to be spread around a whole bunch. And that's why I went under on some of this stuff with May and Diggs and Douglas and Henry and Williams and things.
Most
like
of mine
that.
is usage too, Mike. Like most of mine isn't a knock on the player. It's on usage and what I think will happen with the scheme and not like I think Pop Douglas is going to have a great year out of the slot, right? But is he going to catch 85 balls? Like, I don't think he has a prayer at 85 balls. So, like, that's why I squeezed it, right, and brought it down to 80 even feels a little bit high for me. He had 49 and 66. You think he jumps by 20?
I squeezed that. I have him under 80 balls. I have him at like 75 catches, which I think would be a fantastic season for him.
That's right about where I'm at. I think he could go from the, basically he had 50 year one, then he had mid 60s. He could keep his 50, his 10 pace, go up to 75. I think that's fair for a progression.
I'm basing my under on 85 as he is going. First of all, the offense is going to have a lot more attempts, right? How many 3 and outs did we have last year? How many completely aborted drives did we have? I mean, just by sheer numbers, the volumes are going to go up across the board. And from what I've seen from Pop Douglas, he seems like one of the most dependable receivers on the field. And so a slot receiver in that offense, if you're looking at like Wes Welker and Julian Edelman, all these guys, not to say that Pop Douglas is that, but the slot receiver in the Josh McDaniels offense gets fed pretty hard.
Who plays the slot in the Josh McDaniels offense, though?
It's going to be
Stephon Diggs. It's going to be Stephon Diggs.
It's going to be.
I think it'll be fluid, but
it's going to be different based on whatever play.
Stephon Diggs cooks out of a slot.
He does, but he plays everywhere, right?
That's like what does Pop Douglas not do? Pop Douglas does not play anywhere else besides the slot, highly effectively. Like he can go.
Right, but my point is I think he's going to be on the field quite a bit.
So
he will. He should be. He better be. Let me put it that way, right?
He takes a third-year leap for sure. Last year, I think he would have taken it last year if we had an offensive line.
Oh, everything was hindered last year, right? Anything that could have happened last year was severely. Maybe Hunter Henry was the only one that kind of met his expectation, or he had a great year. That was a good year.
Yeah, 60-something catches.
Right,
but Pop
he's had better years, but
Pop's not going to be an every down guy, and Stephon Diggs is. On first downs, Diggs is going to be at Z. On second downs, Diggs might be in slot. In third downs, then Diggs might be at X or Z, depending on what they're doing, and then Pop's going to come into the slot. You're going to see a rotation of those guys. Stephon Diggs is going to line up everywhere, and Pop Dog is probably just going to line up in the slot. They've been working him outside. I've noticed at the Z a little bit.
They like
more.
to motion him in. They like to motion him in when he's outside,
Exactly.
moving him to his slot-esque position.
Moving him around and whatnot, but he's obviously not as versatile as Steve Diggs. You and I love to call him
Steve Diggs.
I call
who the heck calls him that?
It goes right up my ass.
Just one guy.
Okay, I'm glad it wasn't just me. I was like, wait a minute, no, I want to cancel that right now.
Diggs.
Don't do that
Just
anymore.
It's just one guy that calls him Steve Diggs.
Yeah,
But
his name's Mike.
He's gonna be moved all right. You could go that way too. He's gonna be moved all over. Pop is gonna be part of a package, and the X is gonna be switched out between Booty and Matt Collins from what it looks like right now. So I think those 4 receivers right there is your top 4, and however they manifest and rotate that through. So it depends on how many. It's a circumstance. We're going to be run first, so who knows if Pop's even going to be out there on first down. So
Hunter Henry, he needs to be on your list of top receivers too. I mean, he's
for sure.
Like a pass catcher, I know he's not a receiver, he's a tight end, but pass catchers, like he'll be on that list with Stephon Diggs, with Booty.
We all juiced him. We all have him at the.
Did we? Think, good. That makes me so happy. Division will tell you. Wait, Division didn't juice my guy.
Wait, I juiced Hunter Henry on yards and touchdowns.
That's good.
We all went over our juice on Hunter Henry.
We're all Hunter Henry guys, as we should be.
Of course. He's a
he's
safety
gonna
valve.
eat. He's the security blanket. He's got obviously chemistry with Drake May. There's no denying.
And then we're all under or squeeze on Kyle Williams. So I think that's pretty obvious. The bar is pretty low on touchdowns, so I think we have some overs there. But TV Henderson, we have some interesting stuff on TV Henderson.
We have polarizing things on Henderson.
Yeah, so the rushing of 700 yards. I have the under. Mike has the squeeze, so Mike's going much lower on that. Stop moving up and down.
No, I'm trying to look at whose name is.
Come on, you don't know it by now?
No, I don't. Joe, come on.
Too many beers.
Who are you talking to?
But no, so
I'm on my third.
Exactly. So TV Henderson rushing is 700.5, and I have the under. Mike has the squeeze, so he's at 600.5, and then both of you guys are at the over. So pretty interesting here. I think if you look at this versus Ramondre, which we all have the over on 700 yards, we're going to have what? Sounds like we're going to have 1,400, 1,500 rushing yards just between those two players. So something's got to give here. Something's got to give.
No, I think that can happen. Why can't that happen?
I have the.
Why can't both of them rush really well?
We don't have Antonio Gibson on here. That's the other thing. So are we going to have
50 carries to 50 carries for him or something? He sprinkles in, right? Like he cleans up the rest of the carries. I feel like at the beginning of the season you see more Gibson, and then he'll slowly fade out. And you're like, no, Henderson needs to eat the Gibson snaps, but we're not going to eat into Mondre yet. And then maybe if everything goes exactly right for Henderson, he eats a little bit into Mondre. But Mondre's the running back, right? And then you have more of the pass down back with Henderson, but Henderson should sneak in there. It shouldn't be it's first down, so Mondre's in. It shouldn't be second down, so Mondre's in. It should be situational football, and if the situation calls for a Henderson, bring him in. Like bring in the speed, bring in the pass catching. So I don't think he's shown anybody any reason that he shouldn't have a significant role on the offense. Just based on what he's done in joint practices.
This is Mondre or who's this?
Both of them. I mean, apply to both of them, but I'm thinking Henderson when I'm specifically saying this. Mondre has tape, right? We saw 2022. We saw 2023. We saw 2020. We saw these years. We have an understanding of what he can do, some of his limitations. I know you like to say he's not as much of a pass catcher, but in 2022, he was very good at pass catching. Like I've seen him do it before.
Oh, yeah.
He's got tape out there of him being able to catch the ball. So I think all three of them can kind of do everything that you need a running back to do. There's not one of them that's handcuffed by their skill set. So I just think Mondre's your RB1. Henderson will take over RB2, and Gibson's a very good running back 3. And as you deal with injuries, some of these carries get doled out differently. And as you do wear and tear, if you like playing video games, you know what I'm talking about. You have to balance these things, right? People need to spread the carries out. I think the best way to run an NFL team is to spread the carries out and not have a bell cow running back. So I really like the Patriots approach here. And I think Mondre could get 800 plus, Henderson could get 700 plus, and then I don't really even want to start projecting Gibson at that point. But
that's why we left him off, because it's like,
yeah. Good, as he should.
What are you gonna? Yeah. All right, so getting into TV Henderson's receiving.
Well, I have on that, I have the squeeze on his rushing yards, and I have the juice on all of his passing yards, because I really think that's where he's going to do his damage. And I also think the rushing yards are going to be divvy up between those three guys. So I don't think Henderson's going to get more than 600-yard rushing, just flat out.
That's kind of where I'm at as well.
I just don't believe that. But however, when you're looking at 375 receiving yards, easy. 40 catches, easy. 5 touchdowns, I can see him doing that receiving, because of the way he's going to be utilized. He's going to be lined up all over the place. I have an incredible amount of confidence in his role in the passing game.
I agree.
And I know that he's going to get a bunch of touches, but I think his expertise lies in other areas. That's all I'm saying.
And I got to say, I've been saying this the whole offseason. If I'm on third down or hurry up or 2-minute drill, you name it, I'm not having Mondre out there. I don't care what he did in 2022 or 2023. I'm having Gibson or I'm having Henderson, because I just think it's very hard to pick those skills back up once you put on tape last year what he did. Now, granted, he lost 20 pounds, so skinny Mondre still can possibly come back. But I don't know. You rarely see running backs dip in production like this and then all of a sudden come back and do better. Like, I
3.9 yards per carry against an awful offensive line. I'm just not as down on Mondre's season last year, and I don't think Coach Vrabel is either.
But his receiving prowess is what I'm.
His receiving prowess. Yeah, that was significant. I think the whole team
would say
who did well receiving last year. You wanted the running back to do well.
Well, Gibson did. Gibson did very well, actually, with receiving out of the backfield.
Very well.
Yeah, much markedly better than you have to say he's better than Ramondre last year.
Mondre had a terrible year last year from a fumble standpoint, and from, I guess I have to look up his receiving number. I never really analyzed Mondre's receiving year last year. I just never thought.
But no, you were right. He was a good receiving back, like in 2022 and whatnot. Right. But his role has changed. I don't think they're going to
33 catches last year. Is that right for Stevenson?
Yeah, he had more catches than Gibson last year.
Yeah, so I'm selling that take. I think Stevenson's fine out of the backfield catching the ball.
But
I think
success,
he's fine running.
It doesn't matter if he catches the ball if he doesn't have success, right? If he is not good at it and doesn't have big chunk plays. Gibson had less catches and probably more yards. I would bet on that one.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So
9 yards for 5 yards per catch.
I can see a scenario where they have two running backs back there, Henderson and Stevenson, and Henderson flexes out. I can see that happening very easily, like they used to do with James.
I'm thinking situational football. If we're up, I want Mondre, and if he's what he was before and he's a pounder and that's what we got, great. If we're behind, 2-minute drill, you name it. I'm taking Gibson or Trevion. But hey, this can all play out.
I think I subscribe fully. It's situational football. That's how I want the running backs used. If we need speed and tempo, then bring the fast guy in. I mean, that's obvious, right? I'm all for that, 100%. Start the game off like starters and closers. I'm cool if Henderson's your closer, and I expect there to be a lot of close games and a lot of 2-minute drills. So maybe that's a package that he should be part of.
Yeah. So that leads you right into your last prop here.
Yeah, so now we're into the Ramondre, which I think we're all over on the rushing yards, right? If everything goes to plan, where he is the number one first down back,
we're all over. Yeah.
He's getting the most attempts, right? It's kind of a no-brainer, right? At 700 yards, I think. Rushing touchdowns at 8.5, we have an under by both me and Mike, and then we have a squeeze by Pete and an over by Divish. Now
we spread the board there, Divish. We're gonna do that one. Nice.
Unintentionally, but
nice.
I honestly think I don't think his goal line work or his red zone work is gonna go down at all. I think I think the whole thing that he's not as good of a pass protector in the low red zone is a little overblown, and that's what we know, that he's not only just good at fighting through contact, but he is also good at just reading the right blocks in heavy block schemes. That he's good at making cuts in the short area, especially when he has to double cut to the outside. I think all that I think he's still elite at those traits, not elite, but like at least very good at those traits. And that was one thing that we did not see slow down from him, is the short area quickness. So as long as that's there, I would bet on him to have a good amount of low red zone work.
Did you juice it, Divish?
No, I didn't juice it. I just took the over.
Just took the over.
You did
Okay,
the
I was
over,
gonna say 10's a little bit too high for me. And he's never gotten 8 in his career. He's never mind 9. That's why I squeezed him to the 7.5. I just think there's going to be. I don't think he's going to have a career year touchdown wise this year. I just don't think this is the year for him.
Touchdowns are the toughest thing to predict for sure.
Yeah, they're really tough. I just think there's lots of touchdowns to be had on this team, and some rushing touchdowns in the goal line might go to Drake May.
It's going to be spread out a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially in the red zone, too.
Like, not one person on this offense is just going to feast, you know?
Yeah.
No.
We're not talking about LeGarrette Blount, where you're going to cram him in 3 times in a row. They're going to come up with different
I like how I say
ideas.
feast, and you're like LeGarrette Blount is the first person that comes to mind.
Exactly.
Seriously, he's not going to be that because there's just too many other options.
And I think the receptions we won't get into, because on the receptions, we all took the under, literally across the board, under. And then receiving touchdowns at 2.5. I mean, what are you going to say? It's under, squeeze under. So
yeah, we're under on that.
I think that gets us to the bottom, boys. I definitely appreciate you guys jumping on. This was a lively, fun episode.
Well, we went through all those props.
Yeah, we skipped around a little bit. We didn't go through all the Stephon Diggs stuff, but I think we hit all the main ones we wanted to. But
I'm impressed with all of us, fellas.
I am absolutely. So it's going to be great. We have the whole season to look forward to this. We can kind of keep track of it. We'll keep track of it throughout the year. We'll do maybe some updates as we go. But yeah, a lot of Patriots football ahead of us, boys. I'm excited. We're in the thick of it finally. You know, dredging through all the camps and the t-shirt practices and
this
all
week is a big week.
Wading
big
through the
week.
garbage.
Big week this week.
This is the dress rehearsal, boys. So we made it. We're here. And then we got a last week to final cuts, and then that's it.
Did you see our 53 man? Did you see our wide receiver projections? It would make you happy.
I did. I saw them. They're amazing. Yeah, I retweeted. I read the whole thing. Awesome. Yeah,
we got your boy Chisholm on the roster. Yeah. He made the roster. Yeah.
Chisholm,
I had to cut Baker for him. I had to cut
big
Baker
deal.
to get your boy on the team.
Who's projection?
You did it for me. I know you did, Pete.
When I was writing it, I was like, "This is for Joe."
Yeah. Pete, that you're talking about your projection?
Yeah, go check it out, Mike. And anybody who's listening, go check it out.
It's an article on.
Did you keep 7, including Chisholm and Baker?
Gotta go read it. Gotta go read the article. I'm not telling you.
Cliffhanger.
It's not my first rodeo.
my fault, Petey. I've been busy the past couple of days.
If you want to know, you gotta go read it. But on all honesty, go read it. Figure out if we kept 7 or 6. I'll tell you, there's a little bit of both. And then each week we'll be re-releasing our new 50. We'll be updating it. So we need to see joint practice. We need to see another preseason game, another edition. Same thing after the 3rd preseason. Then we'll give you some final roster cuts as we go in, and we're kind of tracking it as we go along, updating our 53 man. We have an Excel spreadsheet. We're nerds. We're nerds when it comes to football, and we'll admit it. But we love it, and
we love it. Yeah. We love it.
Right?
Freaking love talking to you guys about ball, man. You guys know your stuff. We love people that know their stuff, and you're able to call us out on our stuff when we don't know our stuff.
That's it. We chop it up together.
We like to chop it up and challenge it. So it's awesome. It's always great talking to you guys, man. For real.
Yep. Absolutely. Echo everything you just said. Can't wait to talk ball again. I'm sure we'll be talking ball constantly every single day.
Throughout the season.
We got all the chats.
Yeah. Hopefully this season extends through January. So
yeah, we're happy. I like the vibes chart. Last year division, I had a vibes chart and it just tanked throughout the season. As the season went on, it just kept going down and down and down. We're hoping the vibe chart can have some.
You have us now. I feel like we brought this with us. Because last year we were like talking about it, and then we kind of were like, we don't know. And then this year we're like, that's it, all in. Like at the draft, we were like, let's before the draft. Actually, we actually got our first episode out like right before the draft, and it's been straight to the moon ever since. So
fully
we're gonna continue that trajectory, boys. I'm feeling it.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun working with you guys. I love talking to guys that like know their shit. I talk to people in my life every day, my family members, and I try to talk football with them, and they just
it hurts.
Pick your spots, man.
It just friggin' hurts. And then I have to go talk about like the niece's kindergarten class because I can't hear another word of that.
Hey, they listen, so watch out. Be careful.
I don't give. I just don't give a.
All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. Great episode, and we'll tune in next week. Thanks a lot, everybody. Let's go. Let's fucking go.
LFG, baby. Let's do it.